This is the Elegant Oxford. We specialize and offer premium shoe shines, dyes, and artisan patinas for quality men's brands and help others to learn the art of shoe shining. Visit theelegantoxford.com for all of your shoe care needs. Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a moderately debated topic in the shoe enthusiast community. Now, personally, I don't think I'm going to be taking a stance on either side, but I'm going to present what I've learned here and let you come to your own conclusion because I don't think the answer is actually as clear as you might initially think. Your personal taste will kind of decide where you end up concluding based on what I present here. Now, as someone who works on a lot of Allen Edmonds, I may be in a position to offer some more insight than normal. At this point, I've shined hundreds of pairs of Allen Edmonds from all eras, and have seen hundreds more in my time as a self-proclaimed enthusiast and amateur shoe historian. So I'll tell you my honest opinion and won't try to include any of my personal bias in this review. So the issue is, has Allen Edmonds' quality been declining recently, and is this decline a sign of further issues that may end up destroying Allen Edmonds as a brand overall? There is a percentage of people who believe in this decline who blame the Allen Edmonds buyout by Caleres in 2016, while others believe this decline started earlier with the initial buyout by Brentwood Associates in 2013, while still others blame the Golder, Hahn, Johnson, and Morrison buyout in 2006. Now, complaints and declining quality fall into three categories that I've seen. 1. A decline in quality control leading to more mistakes on pairs and thus more returns in general. 2. Shoes are made with less quality materials and do not have a robust construction like older pairs do. And 3. Quality has declined so rapidly and profusely that Allen Edmonds no longer represents a sound investment and is no longer a good shoe in general. Now, let me tell you right off the bat that there is some warrant for belief in these three complaints, but there is also some embellishing and misinformation happening here as well. Like most issues you see today, I think an extreme position either way is premature and probably wrong, so let's look at the three complaints carefully and weigh the evidence for and against so you're properly informed. Okay, number 1, declining quality, mistakes, and returns. As a member and moderator of the largest Allen Edmonds enthusiast group in the world, I see brand complaints quite often. I think at least daily I might see 1 or 2 complaints about quality control or a mistake made on a pair that deserves a return. Some mistakes are barely noticeable, while others are quite egregious. There is no denying the fact that this is actually happening. I think you could go on any style-related forum or group and you'll find that this is an issue that many are encountering. Now, I want to make something absolutely clear. I am not defending or endorsing this type of work. The more serious issues are completely unacceptable, and I do not agree with that type of work. That being said, however, I've noticed that this is not an Allen Edmonds problem exclusively. Issues like loose grain, misaligned stitches, or crooked construction are not new and are present on pairs from all eras and from all companies. For example, here is a pair of 80s era Florsheim Imperials considered to be one of the best American shoes ever made, and these haven't been worn, they're new. And they have loose grain here by the eyelets, which is not good leather at all, and some crooked construction over here by the eyelets as well. I see this problem on Allen Edmonds sometimes, and I think people think that these type of issues did not exist years ago, but they did. Okay, here's another pair in shell Cordovan from the 1970s with misaligned construction as well. And that's a big problem. Some people would return a pair for this because it doesn't speak to quality construction. And if you look closely, the top of the wing right here is a little bit crooked. So that's also another issue. Here's a pair of modern Alden shell Cordovan short wings with misaligned construction by the eyelets. See how they're not even? And they even have a misaligned logo here on the footbed. That's another issue. A lot of people would return shoes over. And Alden's considerably higher quality than Allen Edmonds, and they definitely cost more. So just keep that in mind. And now to really drive that point home further, here's that pair of John C. Roberts cap toes I have, which are almost 100 years old, and if you look closely, they have some loose grain. I think the point I'm trying to make is that issues like these are not new, they have been around forever, and are not an Allen Edmonds exclusive issue. I've seen these types of issues on pairs from every company and from every era without exception. In fact, let me elucidate this issue further with some more relevant information that might explain quality control issues further. This problem was actually brought up when I visited the Allen Edmonds home factory in Port Washington, Wisconsin. The president of the company was very open and candid about issues we brought up. We were told that the percentage of shoes that don't pass initial inspection and are sold as seconds, and those which are returned due to defects or issues had remained about the same at about 4%. But now that the company is producing many more pairs than ever at about 5,000 pairs a day, that 3% represents a much larger number than before, meaning an actual increase in factory returns and defects in general. When you combine that with the fact that Allen Edmonds produces more shoes than virtually any shoe manufacturer out there, whether it's Alden, Carmina, or Crockett & Jones, then it's understandable why this issue seems so prominent within Allen Edmonds. Now, if you do the math, that's a minimum of 3,000 factory defects a month. So that's actually a larger number than I expected, but it's within the confines and the parameters of what they told me. Now, I am not saying Allen Edmonds produces a shoe as good as the aforementioned brands. They don't. These other brands produce shoes with much finer details. What I'm saying is that the percentage of defective shoes will increase relative to the amount of shoes a company produces, and for Allen Edmonds that means a lot more than it would for a relatively smaller company. In fact, as companies like Carmina have grown in popularity, so too have their quality control issues despite the fact that they are known for excellent quality shoes. Were they to produce 5,000 pairs a day like Allen Edmonds does, you might see issues more readily than you do now. Again, I'm not saying Allen Edmonds produces a shoe even comparable to Carmina or Crockett & Jones or Alden. I just don't want to be misunderstood. I know I'll inevitably get a comment like that down below. But from what I've seen, mistakes are made by all brands, but I think how a company deals with those mistakes is far more important, and in that regard, Allen Edmonds hits it out of the park with some great customer service over customer service of other brands, even Carmina. Okay, number 2, construction materials and fine details. I have noticed a difference in some aspects from vintage pairs to modern pairs. For example, fine details like stitch density have changed over time. Older pairs had higher stitch density, while newer pairs have lower stitch density. As you can see here, I have 2 pairs of 5th Street boots. One was crafted last year at the Allen Edmonds Shell Cordovan Trunk Show, and this calf version is a discontinued model that's a couple of years older. As you can see, the older model has higher stitch density, and if you go even further back to even older pairs, the stitch density is much higher. Now, does stitch density actually make an objective functional difference? No. 5 stitches per inch will hold just as well as 10 per inch. Now, which represents better quality craftsmanship? Higher stitch density without a doubt in the world, and you'd better believe I prefer higher stitch density myself. I am not defending low stitch density, I do not prefer it. Moreover, much older pairs had other fine details like jimping and stitches that actually followed each individual groove. That's a very impressive detail, one I don't even see on pairs of Graziano and Girling today. Having each stitch follow each individual groove is really something else. You just don't see it very much anymore. The heels appear to be the exact same heels modern pair use, so no change there. The soles have higher stitch density as well on vintage pairs, but no indented channel to protect the stitches like some modern pairs do, so that's an improvement I like seeing. Older soles do feel and appear to be denser and tougher, although there's really no way for me to tell, but I'm fairly confident they are. Although this problem doesn't really exist when you consider Day-Night soles and JR soles, which are not made by Allen Edmonds, and both last longer than traditional soles from any era. I personally prefer Day-Night, and Shell Cordovan pairs always come with JR soles, so that's always been helpful to me. Now, in terms of leather quality, I have not seen or noticed or felt any real difference between any pairs in the last 20 years, although you will see a difference on some vintage pairs, but it's not guaranteed. I've handled strands from 2020 and strands from 1999, and I've seen no difference in the leather. This vintage pair, which belongs to my dad, uses bookbinder corrected grain leather, which is no good, and I've discussed that in another video already. So vintage or older doesn't necessarily mean better when it comes to leather, but today bookbinder and polished cobbler are not used by Allen Edmonds at all, so I think that's an improvement for sure. And number 3, quality has declined so rapidly and profusely that Allen Edmonds no longer represents a sound investment / is no longer a good shoe. This one takes many forms, and there are different versions and reiterations of this view. Chief among them are statements like, Allen Edmonds aren't even made in the USA anymore, but are secretly constructed in the DR, the Dominican Republic, or that Allen Edmonds plans on moving all production overseas at some point, or that the current owner of Claire's is going to liquidate current stock and become the next Johnson & Murphy by offering cheaply made men's shoes which are mass-produced in sweatshops outside of the USA, to Allen Edmonds is a terrible brand and avoid them. I think that this contention is probably the most unfounded. This is more of an emotional argument or viewpoint held by individuals who are siding on one extreme of the spectrum on this issue. I can tell you confidently that Allen Edmonds are still made in the USA in Port Washington, Wisconsin. I personally was led through the construction process from raw materials all the way to the finished product. I saw hundreds of hardworking employees diligently crafting and sewing pairs, and others hand-staining leather uppers. Upper management was open and candid about every question I had, and they were well informed and aware of current issues and concerns customers have. At no point did I feel that anyone, including the president of the company, was being deceptive or dishonest about anything. I really and sincerely mean that. We were informed about the Dominican Republic factory and were shown the models and collections like boat shoes and sneakers produced there. Although I agree with or disagree with many of the points I've already brought up personally, this is a view I simply cannot get behind, so I'll just leave it here for those who want to consider it. Okay, so in conclusion, can we say definitively that Allen Edmonds' quality is declining? I think the answer is yes, and no, but I also think the issue is complex enough that a simple yes or no is not sufficient to address what is actually going on. For a lot of people, Allen Edmonds fills 3 important criteria that I've previously mentioned in other videos, which makes them a very good option for a lot of people. 1, Allen Edmonds are Goodyear welted full-grain calf dress shoes you can get from $250 to $350 most times of the year. 2, most of their pairs come in every size and width from 5 to 15 and from A to triple E. And 3, they are made in the USA, and for some people that really matters. Of course, for me and for many others, it makes no difference at all. But I can't think of one company that fulfills these 3 criteria like Allen Edmonds does. I think it's 100% true that Allen Edmonds has changed some fine details like higher stitch density and jimping, but this is a reality that has affected all shoemakers, not only in the United States, but across all brands. There are vintage pairs with details you simply don't see anymore, and modern pairs with finer details than Allen Edmonds usually retail for more, do not offer wide widths or sizes, or if they are more affordable, they are made in China, which is an issue for some, disqualifying those brands for a lot of people. A perfect example of this is the Mirmin Linea Maestro line, which have JR soles, closed channel stitching, and are hand welted, an exceptional value at $300, but not an option for a lot of people due to the parameters I discussed previously. Allen Edmonds has also discontinued using bookbinder leather, and pairs with Dana or JR soles are unaffected by any changes made to the quality of the soles, although I could not fully determine if there's actually been a change. So, whether or not Allen Edmonds still presents a sound investment for you is a decision I cannot make for you. I think it's important to weigh the pros and the cons to make a choice you are happy with. I hope this video has been helpful for you. As I mentioned, I am okay with whatever conclusion you come to, and I personally don't mind either way. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share for more content in the future. Make sure to check out my other videos as well if you'd like to learn more about shining your shoes. Look for me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Elegant Oxford for more. Remember to care for your shoes so that they'll last you for years to come. Always put your best foot forward. The small details matter most, so don't forget to #ShineYourShoes. I'll see you next time.